Hi everyone, my name is Caricin Magaña, and the location that I picked was Tortilla Flat. Now, there's no precise location for Tortilla Flat, but both John Steinbeck's book, called Tortilla Flat, and the film were settled in Monterey, California. In the midst of the Great Depression after World War One, and it was the time where John Steinbeck lost his mother, and he was also losing his dad. His dad grew ill, and right during those times, it's when John Steinbeck came up with Tortilla Flat, which was his most comic novel and his first popular success. In this book, John attempted to write the stories he'd heard when he was young. As we know, John Steinbeck spent a lot of time with Mexicans, and when he was younger, and he'd ask them questions, and he would listen to their stories. And we know that John Steinbeck liked to observe people, and he said that was the main source of his inspiration, looking at people, observing, listening to their stories, and being around people. The book talks about the story of a guy named Danny. His grandfather passes away, and he's given two houses. And throughout the story, it's Danny and his friends, and then there's this bond between all of them. And even though there's at some point they steal from one another, but to help one another, and it's a bit of comic, but the essence of the story is that during poverty, they're friends, and then there's this warmth between them, and at the end of the day, they're friends, even though there's poverty, and then there's all these problems, lack of money, there's no food, but they always seem to have enough money to buy wine. And it's a comic story. It's a beautiful story, and like we said, John Steinbeck brought into that story those stories that he heard from hanging out with the Mexican people, and he blended his story with their stories, and he created this beautiful novel. So this is all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching. My name is Caricin Magaña, and this was my brief summary of Tortilla Flat. I definitely recommend the book. You guys should totally read it. It's a beautiful story. It's a true work of art from John Steinbeck. And I also encourage for you to watch the movie. It's funny. There's this scene on the movie where a doctor is visited the neighborhood. There's a lot of poverty, and I think he's doing like community service. And he goes around, he's checking the kids, and he asks a kid, he asks him, what do you have for breakfast? And he's checking his teeth and checking his eyes and everything, and the kid says, tortillas and beans. And then he keeps asking him questions. Do you go to school? And the kid says yes. And the doctor asks, what do you take for lunch? And the kid says, beans wrapped in a tortilla. And then he keeps checking his mouth, and then he says, what do you have for supper? And the kid says, tortillas and beans. And it's a funny scene because the kid is very serious, and the doctor is that all you have? And then the kid says, what more can you ask for? And he genuinely likes tortillas and beans, and that's probably all there is, but he's happy with his tortillas and beans. So it's a beautiful story. I recommend I recommend you guys watch the movie and read the book, definitely.